Pray with me as we look at the book of 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 10. 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, verses 8 through 10 in your hearing. You'll find these words recorded. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body. And from this, I want to talk from this subject. Facing life head on. Facing life head on. Bless you. Are you one of those individuals who are running from life? I've discovered that a large number of people are on the run away from life. Life has to chase some of us down because we're on the run. Mostly because we don't really want to accept the realities of life. Yeah, we really would like to have a world different from this one. So we create, for the most part, a fantasy world. We do. We live in a world of our own mental and emotional creation. One that is vaguely made up of our imagination. It's loaded with fairy tale-like scenarios, most of which end with that familiar phrase, and they lived happily ever after. And we live in this fantasy world for the most part because we're just not ready for the real world. And thus we spend a whole lot of our time just fantasizing. Yeah, I mean, we fantasize about a lot of things that we would like to accomplish, things we would like to become, dreams that we would like to have come true. We spend an awful amount of time, an exorbitant amount of time just fantasizing, daydreaming, if you will. You know, this is the challenge for many of us, because we just don't want to deal with the real world. We want a world where everybody likes us, pats us on the back, compliments us, and all those kind of things. We want a world where everything goes our way. Yes, we do. We want a world without hardships and without difficulties and without struggles. We want a world without the challenges that confront us all the time. We want a fantasy world where everything is just always peachy keen. And everything is always going well. You mess us up, when you throw in trouble, trials, difficulty. We really don't want any of that. And so thus, we opt out by creating our own world. And mind you, that's where a lot of us live, in our own world. And so I thought today this discussion that we're having would help somebody to embrace the real world and to look at life through a different lens and to accept the challenges that the real world brings to us on a regular basis. Yeah, I thought this would help us. So I consulted with the Apostle Paul in this amazing text because he had to deal with, in the first century church, a lot of the same stuff that we got to deal with in the 21st century. 21st century church. And part of it was that evidently somebody had told these new believers that if you come to Jesus, all your troubles are over. Yeah. Maybe somebody from somewhere had told these early Christians that if you give your life to Christ, that you won't have any burdens, you won't have any problems, won't have any challenges. And so now what the apostle had on his hand was a whole lot of frustrated, disappointed, upset believers because their hopes of a trouble-free life had been frustrated. And they were still having to deal with a lot of the same troubles that they had before they accepted Jesus. And they said, it ain't supposed to be like this. It ain't supposed to be like this. And, a lot of us, even now in the 21st century, somebody must have told us that there'll be no struggle. There'll be no burdens. I mean, when I listen to the way a number of us modern day Christians complain, it is as if they have been told by somebody that these kind of challenges ought not happen to children of God. Evidently, the way people sound when they're going through one thing or another, it is almost as if somebody promised them that your life would be trouble-free. And now they are dealing with the frustration of that and complaining about their circumstances. And so now here we are, just like the apostle in the text, looking at this whole concern as we speak to people who are kind of frustrated in their faith because things ain't working out like they wish. But I'm going to tell you what the apostle does. Here's exactly what he does. He speaks to the people of God and he challenges them to grow up. He says you have a tender side as true, but you also have a tough side. And he challenges the people of the early church to turn your tough side forward. Put on your big girl dress and your big boy pants and be an adult about this. He says, don't run from life and the circumstances of life. Whatever life brings your way, stand there and face it head on. That's what he tells us. That's what he said. That's what he's saying to us. That's what he's saying to us. You know, and listen, I think for real, you know, the early church heard that message, but it's the same message that we need to hear now. And while we are sensitive to the pains of people and sensitive to the difficulties that folk face, sensitive to the circumstances under which many people must live, we've got to understand that there is nothing that's going to come our way that God will not give us the grace and the strength to handle. And I'm talking to a lot of people in this room today that's already been through enough to know what I'm saying. You already been through enough. You've already come through enough in your life to be a witness to this, because we can make it through our challenges, through our difficulties, through our hardships, if we just stand our ground and face life head on. Muster up the strength that God has given us inside and face life head on. And the apostle teaches us how to do it in this wonderful text. You know, he says, if you're going to face life head on, the first thing you must understand is don't allow your difficulties to define your day. Don't allow your difficulties to define your day. You know, many times, you know, that's exactly what we do. We define our days by our struggles. Ask us about ourselves. Ask us how you're doing. You know, the first thing we're going to do is muster up some difficulty. Yeah, we're going to recall some challenge, and we're going to define our day by the challenge that we are currently dealing with. And so what the apostle is saying to us is that don't let your difficulties define your day. Don't let your problem decide for you what kind of day you're going to have. Listen to how he says this. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. Yeah. He said, we're perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. He said, yeah, these are the circumstances we deal with. You know, yeah, we're saved. Yeah, we're sanctified and filled with the Holy Spirit and everything else. He said, but we deal with trouble, perplexity, persecution, and being cast down all the time. He says, but those things do not define our lives, because we are sons and daughters of God. Therefore, we count our blessings. And you know, I must challenge the people of God every now and then that, you know, just in case you don't know how blessed you are, get a blank sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle, write your problems down one side and your blessings down the other, and your blessings will outnumber your problems every time. We are way more blessed than we really think we are. You know, we think that the challenges and the hardships and the difficulties, you know, define us. But they do not define us. They do not determine what our days are going to be like. They do not set the pace for our lives. That's what the apostle is saying. He said, so he said, yeah, you're going to have these issues, but don't let them define your day. You know, you get up in the morning, you know, you face the day with joy. Be glad you are given breath to breathe. Every day is another chance to get this thing right. You know, every day is a blessing from the Lord. Then another thing. Paul said, if we're gonna face life head on, he said, then also we must not allow, listen to this, our external situation to determine our internal condition. He said, in essence, don't let the stuff going on outside of you determine what goes on inside of you. Just because there's a storm outside doesn't mean it has to be stormy inside of you. Because things are shaped up and messed up and all of the rest outside of you doesn't mean you have to be like that on the inside. You see, when he says we are troubled on every side yet not distressed, he's saying that the trouble is external. He said, but stress is internal. He says, so I don't let the stuff going on outside of me get inside of me. He said, I deny permission for entry. I mean, you bring it at me. You could throw anything at me, but I can deny it permission to enter into my spirit. You see, we can't let everything inside our heads. You see, your troubles and your hardships are really trying to get to you. But listen, they need permission. And if you don't grant them permission, they might arrive near you, but they won't get inside of you. Yeah, somebody should hear what I'm saying in here today. Because it'll help you look at the whole. I mean, he said we're troubled on every side. All these situations are coming at us. He said, yet not distressed. Inside of myself, I'm still doing just fine. He said, because all of that stuff is going on around me and it's coming at me from every direction, but I have denied it permission to enter into my spirit. See, people who are all broken up and all torn up and all messed up, it's because they've given something permission to enter in their spirit and to mess them up and to disturb their inner being and to shake them up on the inside. He said, you don't have to do that. He says, we're troubled on every side, but not distressed. See, trouble is external. Stress is internal. He said, yeah, he said that we are perplexed. The perplexities are going on all around us. He said, but not in despair. He said, because despair is an internal thing. He said, persecuted, yeah, that comes from outside. But the feeling of being forsaken develops from the inside. He said, so we're not forsaken. He said, cast down, yeah, you can throw me down. He said, but you can't throw my spirit down. There's a part of me that remains standing. Even though you cast me down. He said, yeah, he said that if you want to face life head on, he said, now don't let everything outside of you have permission to enter you. Yeah, and that's good news my brothers and sisters, because we could really live life a lot better, even though things are going on around us. Even though things might be crazy around us, it doesn't mean we have to go crazy. Because you can deny your entry into your life. And then the final thing he says in this text is this. He said, now, you can face life head on. Isn't it? He says, if you refuse to go where your issues are trying to take you. I mean, it's kind of like, the saying I heard a long time ago said, just because you've been invited to an argument doesn't mean you have to accept the invitation. Just because you have been invited to distress, doesn't mean you have to go there, You see, because all of the challenges that confront us are actually trying to take us somewhere that we ain't trying to go. You see, and you can't allow your circumstances to take you there. You see, this is the destination. You see, if the enemy has his way, all of us would be distressed. Did you get it? He said, all of us would be in despair. All of us would feel forsaken. And all of us would feel destroyed, because that's where our circumstances is trying to take us. Yeah, and you see John, the 10th chapter, the 10th verse, it says that the thief comes only, meaning the thief shows up with the prime objective of killing, stealing, and destroying. See, the enemy wants us destroyed. Sometimes people say, devil trying to hurt me. No, the devil ain't trying to just hurt you. The devil wants you dead. The devil wants to destroy you. The devil wants you eliminated. If all the devil done is hurt you, you got off easy. But the devil wants to destroy us, to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But hallelujah, Jesus said, I come that they might have life. And not just mundane life, not just drab existence, not just mediocre life, but life more abundantly. The apostle is saying, he said, your issues are trying to take you to the pit of despair, but you don't have to go there. You don't have to go where your circumstances are trying to take you. You see, all of us, we gotta rewrite our theology on suffering. Because we've not learned how to suffer, we've not learned how to live. We got to learn how to deal with all of these issues and challenges that come our way. And to do so with courage and audacity. See, because when you know who you are in Christ, I wish somebody could hear me preaching. When you know who you are in Christ, sometimes you stand flat-footed and you tell trouble, come on if you want to. Come my way if you will. I'm not running because I'm not scared. Fear ain't calling the shots in my life. I'm a child of God. Somebody need to know that today. You're not wimps, you're winners. You're not chumps, you're champions. You are sons and daughters of God. Didn't you hear Peter say you're a chosen generation? You're a royal priesthood. You're a holy nation. You are a peculiar people, that you might show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into this marvelous light. There's nothing that you are going through that God does not have the power to see you through. Hallelujah to the Lamb. Oh, in the church I grew up in, we used to sing a little song. I thank Brother Andre Crouch for writing those words. I've had many tears and sorrow. I've had questions for tomorrow. There was times I didn't know right from wrong, but in every situation, God gave me blessed consolation that my trials only come to make me strong. Then listen to what he said. So I thank God for the mountain, and I thank him for my valleys, and I thank him for the storms that he brought me through. Because if I never had a problem, I wouldn't know God could solve them. I wouldn't know what faith in God could do. But through it all, somebody ought to help me say that today. Through it all, I learned to trust in Jesus. I learned to depend on his word. Through it all, through hardships and through trials, through difficulties, through sickness and suffering, through pain, through people walking out on me, through people hurting me deliberately, through people being mean toward me, that I learned to trust in Jesus. Somebody here today can testify. Yeah, you can testify. Yeah, that your strength, yeah, I'm talking about your inner strength, didn't come from your days of sunshine. It didn't come from your times on the mountaintop. Your strength came from those valley experiences. Your strength came from those dark and hard times in your life. You are stronger now because of what the Lord has brought you through. So don't be on the run from life. Face life head on. I'm going to tell you, in the real world, you're going to have some issues. I'm talking about in the real world. You're going to have some burdens to bear. In the real world, everybody ain't going to like you. In the real world, there's difficulties to face. But I thank God for Jesus. For Jesus stepped into this real world of ours. And somebody here know he'll walk with you day by day. He'll talk with you. He'll tell you his own. I tell you, he'll give you joy. Anybody got that kind of joy? Anybody got that Jesus joy? He'll give you joy beyond compare. So my brothers and my sisters, if you're on the run from life, stop where you are. Turn around. Plant your feet. Square your shoulders. Hold your head up and face life head